Joe Biden just gave a speech. Money for you. Sure. We'll just borrow money. Let's set aside that speech for our purposes here tonight on I'm Right. I want you to listen to something, and you're going to listen for two different things as you listen to this. This is a longer clip than we normally play you. It's Joe Biden being interviewed on a plane. And here are the two different things I want you to listen for. And it's way long. Just stay with me. These are the two things you're going to listen for. One, I want you to listen for the balancing act Democrats in this nation, the balancing act they try to walk, the tightrope they have to walk at all times. This is what I mean. Remember, the communist, he thrives. He thrives on two things. There are two things that fuel communism. Two things. Lies, and those tie directly into the second thing. Your apathy. You must remain apathetic and unaware. So if you're a communist like Joe Biden, AOC, I mean, take your pick. It's really the communists behind Joe Biden. But if you're one of these types, here's what I mean. When you give an interview, you're going to use language, you want to use language that is letting your rabid, communist, murderous base know that you are with them, that you are actually going to hurt the people they want to hurt. You have to let them know that. But you can't be too overt about it because you rely on the American communist media to run cover for you, and they will run cover for you as long as you're not too overt about it. So here's what communists do. What they do is they slowly but surely, over time, use language to other or create enemies of people they hate. We've talked about this before. We're going to talk about it again. What have they called you over and over and over again? 4, 5, 6 years. What language have they used to describe you? Extremist, extremist, threat to democracy. And what happens every time there's a horrible shooting? They call it a mass shooting and they blame you and guns. Whenever they use language like extremist, mass shooting, that's the same language they use to describe you. In this clip, you'll hear it when he's kind of talking about Hamas, but what he's doing is he's taking what people think about Hamas and he's making sure his domestic political enemies are lumped into the same thing. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to listen for, the language they use. There's a second thing I want you to listen for, though. I want you to listen to just how gone Joe Biden is. Hey, look, we've played a million clips about Joe Biden screwing things up, can't talk, sounds half asleep. Joe Biden is not going to be running to be the Democrat nominee in 2024. I know you've heard me say that a million times. I've been telling you that for a couple years. There's just no way they can prop this guy up again. This is a little long. Listen for the language. Look at his condition.
Virtually every mass shooting, every circumstance where a large number of people have been victimized and lost, I've spoken with them. I learned a long time ago, what you've all learned in your life. When someone's going through something that is beyond their comprehension, that they ever thought they'd have to go through. If they see someone who they think understands or maybe been through something not the same but similar, it gives them some sense of hope. And I always get criticized sometimes by my staff because when I go to these events, I stay for 3 to 4 hours and answer all their questions. But it matters. It matters a lot. And look, I'm talking, some of you have gone through a hell of a lot more than I've gone through, and a lot more than other people have gone through, and you understand. So it's just people are looking for just something to grab, something that gives them some sense sense of hope. And that's, if I can do a little bit of that, then it's worth doing. It's done for me. So.
Yeah. But you notice, talking about Hamas, terror, what's he reference? Mass shooting, of course. Oh, and I do need to point out on the whole Joe Biden's not going to make it thing, let's always remember that this person is going to be president if Joe Biden has to resign.
So let us today celebrate America's diversity and our collective commitment to inclusion and the importance of equity. Yes, I just did do DEI.
Anyway, let's go back to Joe Biden. I just had to throw that one in there. Let's go back to Joe Biden. So this is what we're dealing with. They're using language constantly to describe people who blow up, rape, and incinerate women and kids to describe you. They use this language all the time. They don't use this language on accident. They use this language because they feel about you actually worse than they feel about any foreign-born piece of trash. And you and I had better keep that little fact in mind. Why do you think Grandma Vodka, when describing all the stuff in the house, why do you think she uses language like this? Remember, this woman doesn't use any language that's not purposeful.
When we've had a speaker's race on our side or their side, we've always respected each other's judgment. But today and yesterday, that was an assault on our democracy, as Jim Jordan assaulted our democracy on January 6th.
Assaulting democracy. Why do you think they use this language all the time? Well, because they want to hurt you. They want to throw you in prison and they want to hurt you. They want to use every part of the national security apparatus against their domestic political enemies. That's why you hear a never-ending drumbeat from Joe Biden on down about you, extremists, assault on democracy, threat to democracy, might end democracy. That's why they look at terrorist attacks. And you know what they see? They don't see terrorist attacks. They're not moved in any way. You know what they see? They see an opportunity for more domestic gun confiscation. That's why they immediately conflate it with mass shootings. These people don't take a day off on their plans for you. Never. They never have even a brief moment where they think about the country or even foreign affairs or victims of this or that. They don't take a minute off. Everything for them is about moving the ball forward. And part of moving the ball forward involves hurting you. That is something you must understand. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but if you're listening to them, they're basically telling you what they want. And this is where, there's something else I saw that drove me crazy yesterday that ties me directly into this. Did you see all the little pro-Hamas rabid animals that took over the Capitol? Here's a little clip of it. Okay, and I know what you're probably saying. You're probably saying the same thing everyone else on the right is saying. Jesse, why are they not arrested? Jesse, they arrested the January 6th protesters. Jesse, what about the hypocrisy? Look at this hypocrisy. How could they get away with it? You need to focus a lot less on the hypocrisy and more on why they get away with it. They get away with it because you are already sandwiched. You are already involved in stochastic terrorism weaponized against you. What is that? Well, it's basically the people on top, the people in charge, the elites, the Justice Department, all of them. They share a worldview, a religion with the rabid animals you saw there on the bottom. And the people on the bottom, they have a job to do. It is their job to do violence, activism, hurt people, kill people, vandalize things, take over the Capitol, do whatever. And they do so with the knowledge that the people on top will protect them legally from that. You are not on top. You are not on the bottom. You are right here in the middle, being surrounded and sandwiched by your enemies. That's why their rabid little animals get to saunter into the Capitol and take the place over. And if you bought a cup of coffee in D.C. during January 6th, you go to federal prison. It's not a mystery, and stop pointing out the hypocrisy. Just start being aware of how truly evil your government is, top and bottom, and you're in the middle. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.